policies, but I love him as a human being. I think he's a human being. Why Yang and not Tulsi?
I'm a big Tulsi guy too. Ultimately, for me, UBI, I don't know. I'm not super big on that. I honestly don't think if he won that it would even actually come to policy. But I just trust him as a person, and I think that he has good intentions for the country. And I don't know. I think him and Tulsi both, though. I like Tulsi a lot too.
Okay, so let me just tell you, I love Tulsi. On my Twitter, you can see that I've been supporting Tulsi for the past 2 years. I love her, but you know why I love her? Because she love trumps hate with her. She will cross, right now she is co-sponsoring a bill with my favorite Congressman, Thomas Massie, to audit the Fed. And she has been behind this whole, and the Russian conspiracy. They say she's an Assad apologist. She is not. She's just sane. Okay? She's just sane. So what is it about Yang and Tulsi that sets them apart from, and I'm being honest here because I love Tulsi and I think Yang is a cool guy I'd love to hang out with. So what is it about those two that sets them apart from a Kamala Harris or a Joe Biden?
Well, for me, I really like that Tulsi especially, a lot of her policies are more moderate, and she's more about just getting things done and not politicizing things. With Kamala Harris specifically, I feel like she's a prosecutor, she's a lawyer. It's her job to convince you to trust her and that she's right. I feel like a lot of those other politicians on that stage are politicians. And yeah, they're really just saying what they think is going to get them the most votes, and they're really two-faced, and I don't trust a lot of those people.
So on our YouTube channel, we have a lot of Bernie supporters because, I don't know if you heard us, we are homesteaders. I believe in living sustainably. We try to live as ethically as possible. And there are a lot of libertarian-minded people. You know, we will call out Republicans. I don't believe in gas-guzzling cars just, indiscriminately driving for no real reason. So my question is, are you all like left leaning? You think left? No, you're not. Centrist as in, who would you choose out of this? I'm guessing centrist to the left though. So who would you choose out of that Democrat lineup we saw the past 2 nights?
I liked Buttigieg.
You like Buttigieg. Now what drew Buttigieg to you?
Education. I really think that the country's divided, and that's not very good for the health of the country overall. I mean, you see, like, at Trump rallies, you have massive Trump supporters, you have massive protesters. I don't think that's good for the stability of the country as a whole. I think someone who has a great education, and I think Buttigieg will be a good unifier for the country overall. So I don't agree with I agree with some of his policies, I don't agree with all of them, but I think overall he'll be good for the health of the country.
Okay. So what about you over there? Who would you support?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
You haven't? Did you watch it? Who watched the debates?
Yeah, I think all of us did.
You did? You did? So did you watch the moment where Tulsi called out Kamala on the 15 locked up 1,500 people for marijuana? Yep. So how many of you are for the legalization of marijuana, federal?
I think so.
Yeah? You think so? Do you think there might be anything, and I'm on the fence myself personally, do you think there might be some drawbacks to that?
I mean, obviously there are drawbacks with legalizing any type of drug. Alcohol's caused a lot of problems, but ultimately I think marijuana, in a lot of the ways like alcohol, it's kind of, locked in with our society at this point. So many people are using it illegally, and really, most of the time it's not going to be causing much damage. I think, obviously, if you're responsible with it, then it's fine, just like alcohol. I don't see any reason why it should be classified so differently from alcohol.
Did you see the recent study that came out? And there was actually a book written about it that showed that when young people start smoking pot, long term, their IQs go down.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me, and I would not personally ever use marijuana, but I feel like, if people want to cause that type of damage to themselves, people smoke cigarettes, people become alcoholics. I believe in consistency with our laws, and I think illegalizing marijuana while having all of these other drugs legalized is kind of inconsistent.
Yeah, that's true. So what drew you guys out here today? Were you protesting? Were you just observing?
We all went to the rally observing. Yeah, I went to the Trump rally as a supporter in 2016.
Okay.
I'm not staunchly against him. I still would take him any day over Hillary. There's a good chance that if the Democrats nominate a certain group of people, I'm probably still will be voting for Trump. But yeah, we mostly just came to observe and.
Okay. So what did you observe? How was the crowd? Do you think that they're a bunch of racists?
I wouldn't say they're a bunch of racists. I would say some are ignorant, but I wouldn't say they're racist.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there are a lot of good people.
Yeah.
They're mostly good people.
Yeah.
And
You know what? I'm going to interrupt you real quick because I've noticed that the Yang gangers and the Tulsiers are way more level-headed, not as angry, not as, wanting to divide people. They want to just be friends with people, basically. But maybe we have the same goals, but we have different ways to get there, so we can talk about how we get there.
yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the Tulsi and Yang supporters, they're less radical. They're more centrist, I'd say.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you look
Yang's
at...
pretty radical with the $1,000 UBI, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty radical.
I mean, outside that.
Okay.
But I mean, like Biden, Warren, Bernie supporters, they're all very progressive, very left wing.
Uh-huh.
But with Yang and Tulsi, it's
Yeah.
more centrist.
I think it's more, honestly, their personality.
Yeah.
But to me, I would love to be Tulsi and Yang's friend because when you care about other people, you literally care about them. You don't want to call them names. I don't know anything about you, so I'm not going to come up and say, you support Yang, you are a crazy socialist communist. Okay? I'm not going to say that. I'm going to ask you, what are your beliefs? Where are you going to go with that? But this group back here pretty much said, if you support Trump, then you are a racist. And I think that maybe you guys can take a lesson from this because you would never want to be called a racist, right? Right?
No.
If you're not a racist, you don't want to be called a racist. And what I found that most racists are pretty blatant and out there with their racism. Okay? They just say it. They don't hide it. They're not like these hidden racists out there. You know what I mean? And so think about your Trump supporting friends because people I interviewed today won't wear their Trump hats in public because they're afraid that they'll lose their friends. They're afraid that violence might happen to them. And be kind to them because we're all part of the human race. And at the end of the day, we put our head on the pillow, we get up, we try to go to work, we try to, are you guys in college around here somewhere? So you just graduated from high school? Really? Okay, so you guys all going to go to the same school? Where are you going to go?
Transylvania University.
All right.
Transylvania University.
Louisville.
All right. So what do you guys want to study?
Business, marketing, something
Yeah.
in that field.
International affairs.
Economics.
Okay. So with the questions on education and being paid, do you guys think that college should be free?
No.
You're on the fence?
I'm on the fence, I'd say.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it would cost a lot of money, I mean, and it would put us in even more debt, maybe. But we have we're over $1 trillion in student debt, and something needs to be done about that.
We do. And I agree with you 1,000,000% that something has to be done with student debt. Nobody should start their life off with $150,000 worth of debt, okay? But did you know that Elizabeth Warren got paid $400,000 to teach one class?
Yeah.
So maybe if Elizabeth Warren, if she was paid a decent amount, nobody wants anybody in the poorhouse to be starving, but $500,000 to teach one class, I believe, might be a little bit extreme, right? But she wants everybody else to pay that kind of salary to her at Harvard, because it was at Harvard, right? And so I agree that college should not be this expensive. It should be, maybe $20,000 for all 4 years, and then you're done, and something decent that could be paid off. But I don't think these colleges are really looking out for your best interest, but their bottom line. So instead of saying, hey, let's get the government to pay for this, hey, how about we put pressure on the colleges to lower the fees. Did you know that Harvard has, I believe, don't quote me, but I know it's close to, I think it's either 20 or 40 billion. It's $1 billion endowment, but they're not spreading that across to everybody else. They're keeping that. And so instead of maybe going after that, so what do you guys think about, one more question, what do you guys think about the universal health care?
I'm kind of divided on healthcare as well.
Okay,
But
okay.
but I would lean towards universal healthcare because I don't think companies should be able to profit over people's health.
Okay, but with the universal health care, somebody's going to be profiting, right?
necessarily, no.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Okay, what about you? Universal health care?
I don't know. I think it'd be good in practice, but it'd be hard to execute.
Okay.
It'd be good in idea, but it'd be hard to execute, and I think the deficit's high enough as is.
Wow, that's pretty impressive for somebody who just graduated from high school. What about you?
I agree with him. I think, humanitarily speaking, I think that would be the right thing to do, but just logically and realistically, I don't know if that's something that we should be completely prioritizing right now.
What about healthcare then for illegals? People who come over here illegally?
Absolutely not.
No? So what do you guys think about the border? You're probably not big fence guys, are you?
I'm not a big wall guy, no.
No? Well, no?
I just feel like we can take care of the border in other ways. It's just kind of a waste of tax money.
Yeah. But do you think maybe the Democrats are making it harder on Trump? Did you know that illegal immigration went down as soon as Trump was elected? I personally am claustrophobic, so I don't necessarily want a border in case I need to go to Mexico for some reason. But what I've found is that the Democrats are pretty much calling everybody up saying, hey, as Elizabeth Warren said, it's not going to be illegal if I'm president for you to cross our border. And I have friends who have died from heroin overdoses. And a lot of these drugs, most of the drugs are coming up from that border. And if we don't do something to stop that, then you're going to keep having this flush of crime. And I guess 1/3 of all the children being brought up are not with their parents. They're not even related to these people. So people are trafficking their children because the Democrats have said, hey, if you bring kids, then we're going to, make it easier for you to get into this country. And so one man recently just on the news bought a kid for $80 in Guatemala and brought him up. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, I think we should have secure borders. I don't think anyone's necessarily advocating for open borders.
Well, Elizabeth Warren said she doesn't want to make it illegal, a crime to just cross the border. So if it's not crime.
But I don't think that has a realistic chance of happening. We're not going to have open borders. We're going to have secure borders. But I do think there should be an easier way to immigrate to this country. It takes 10, 20 years just to get into this country legally. That's why so many people are crossing illegally. It's just...
Do you think everybody in the world who wants to come here should be able to come here?
I think they should be able to, as long as they, get a job, that they can sustain themselves.
Do you know how many people in this world there are? That's a lot of people. If everybody who wants to come should be able to come.
There's a lot, but I mean, we got plenty of room.
Do you really think everybody on the planet could fit? Do you think? Don't you? Okay, the way our system is today, with the food stamps and the health care, do you think we could sustain that?
Well, those systems need to be revamped, changed. The current system we have right now, too many people are taking advantage of the system.
That's true.
But that needs to be changed. But that doesn't mean we necessarily cut off immigration.
When I was in high school, no, you don't cut it off. When I was in high school, I thought everybody should be able to come over as well too, because I was open-hearted, but then I began to realize that we have a lot of socialist principles here still because we take care of a lot of people, and our tax salaries, middle-class America really can't afford to pay for more people. They just can't. They can't afford the taxes to pay, and that's where it comes from. Whether the billionaires are going to hide their money, there's nothing we can do about that. Is there something you think we could do about it?
Well, we could stop. I don't know. You look at these larger companies, these larger corporations like Amazon. They didn't pay a dime in federal tax last year.
Yeah.
It's just, messed up. We need to do something about that.
We do. We need to do something about these large corporations, and we agree on that. I don't believe there should be this big disparity, and I don't think Bezos should be a billionaire while, Amazon workers are working their tushies off. That's just wrong.
Doing more work.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
Yeah, he's not doing anything.
I don't know. I do feel like I wouldn't say the rich should be taxed to death, but I do believe they should pay their fair share. They don't pay enough right now, in my opinion. And I don't know. A lot of large corporations just in general will find a way out of paying taxes.
They will, and they do.
Yeah.
So we could get some anti-corruption in there to break up some of those big corporations. What do you guys think? Do you know about the big tech censorship that's been happening? Mostly to conservatives. My channel particularly, I felt it. As soon as Trump was elected, I had 6 months, and then about 2/3 of my videos were demonetized. because all of a sudden everything is now off limits. You can't talk about anything. And then shadow banning. We've been kicked off of YouTube several times, begin back on because it's wrong. We've been kicked off of Facebook, and there's a huge censorship in which a lot of maybe our message doesn't get to get out anymore because of that. And Tulsi Gabbard, did you guys know that she's suing Google for $50 million?
That's pretty good. There is too much social media censorship. And the problem is, they have too much power because there's no real competition for them, so they can just go and do whatever they want. And a lot of time they censor people that they disagree with. Like InfoWars, for example. I disagree with InfoWars. I hate InfoWars. But they should be able to have that platform to speak, on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook.
Did you hear that, Millie? Millie Weaver is my friend.
Oh, hey, Millie.
She's a friend of ours. So, yeah, we've been on InfoWars a few times. My sister and I have. Yeah. And yeah, you know what? And that's okay. But I think that you would find that you agree with a lot that Alex says if you listen to him, because we all love Tulsi. All of us. We love her because she's sane, and she'll call out the BS. She'll call out the mainstream media, and she'll call out corruption, the deep state. She calls it out. And she's the only one on the left, I think, really doing that right now and giving normal people a voice. So I'm hoping that she does something good, because did you know after the first debate she was the #1 search candidate, and Google took away her ability to put ads up for 6 hours, and that might even put her over. And so she's suing, and she put out an ad that said right or left, conservative or liberal, it's wrong to have Google have this much control. And that's all the rest of us want to hear. That's all. Let's fight out the issues. But when Google controls, 90% of all searches, 80% I think in America, but like 90 worldwide, I think that we need to do something. Maybe break up Google. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know about breaking up anything, but I definitely believe that the internet is such a new phenomenon, and it has changed the way that we communicate so vastly.
Yeah.
I definitely think that we should amend the Constitution in some way to incorporate free speech on the internet.
My brother!
I've debated with him and I and one of our other friends. We spent maybe 2.5 hours debating on this just yesterday, and I am a staunch believer that the internet and like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of these platforms, they're really the new public square of what our founding fathers believed that we should have free speech for.
You just said public square, founding fathers in the same sentence.
So I definitely think that we need to do something to enforce free speech for everyone on the internet.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And think about it this way. So a long, long time ago in a galaxy far away, there were no telephones. And what if the telephone company wouldn't allow your voice on there because they didn't like what you were saying?
That would not be good.
That would not be good.
I brought up that exact argument the other day when we were talking about this.
Now,
we were actually talking about social media membership.
Really?
Yeah.
So, and the same thing for the post office. There are things that are illegal to send, but if you don't break those rules, if you're not doing something illegal, should a Trump supporter not be allowed to send mail to their aunt because they support Trump, or even vice versa? Yang, I know Yang is being censored. I know Tulsi's being censored. Everybody else kind of has something to stand on, a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we found some really good common ground with you guys. What were your names again? Steven?
I'd rather not say.
Okay, don't say.
Austin?
Oh, cool name. Did you guys get a card?
No.
Michelle, get a card for our new friends, our new lefty friends, centrist lefty friends. This is my sister and I. We say we don't lean left, we don't lean right, but we lean on the Word of God. And so our favorite thing to do is to find a common ground with people who might be on the center and the left, because we're all humans, and I love people, and I don't like to be everybody on the right. I hate the word right wing, left wing. I'm like, we're all humans. We're the human wing. Okay? What are your stances and your stances? You might, if you just took those stances, you would stand with the people on the right. Okay? But you don't want to be labeled something. You would if you were on Twitter. Your stance, I'm saying, is considered right wing because right now, on censorship, exactly. So that is considered, unfortunately, and see, it's an ugly term for you, isn't it? Ugh, I don't want to be called that. I don't want to be called right wing. But I don't mind if somebody says, "Oh, you're that's a liberal thing." I'd say, "Well, thank you very much. I don't want to be put in a box." You know what I mean? So rethink how you think about right and left, and just think human. You know what I mean? Think humans. These people here came here tonight. They're humans. And I interviewed a lot of them, and I asked them how they felt about being called racist. And it really hurts. Like, it hurts them. You know, nobody wants to be called a racist. They like Donald Trump because they hear about MS-13. They see illegals coming up. They might have relatives or friends like I do who died from heroin, knowing that it's coming from Mexico, but also knowing that 90% of the world's opium, which creates heroin, is being grown in Afghanistan. So what the heck are we still doing over there? Okay, we obviously haven't stopped that. So Tulsi is being smeared, and they're calling her a Putin puppet and an Assad apologist, and saying right-wing talking points. Well, calling people names isn't going to do any good, but they can't argue her on what she says, so that they call names. So watch when people call names, because, you know. But I really appreciate this conversation. It has been fantastic, and I'm pretty sure that as you get older, your mind views, they'll change and they'll evolve, and that's okay. And you'll say, I didn't think that way or I thought that way because maybe I grew up under this, and I'm going to grow and I'm going to be like this. But being able to have a conversation like this as just going into college, that's pretty impressive, because I did not have these kind of views, and I was not politically minded. So I'm very impressed with you guys. You should give good parents. So you guys have a good evening, really, and God bless.
I wanted to bring up, I completely agree with everything you just said, and I really wanted to register as an independent, but I wanted to be able to vote in this year's primary.
Sure.
So I registered Democrat just so that I could vote for whoever I wanted to support. And at this point, it's either going to be Yang or Tulsi. I'm pretty much split between them. But so I would definitely consider myself an independent overall, just because I don't like the titles. I don't want to be completely identified with anything. I'm my own person. I'm an independent thinker, and I think we should all realize that everyone's an independent thinker. And I think the division that we see going on with all of this division with tribalism that's happening with the left and right, I think it's terrible. And I definitely think it's terrible to judge Trump supporters based on, their political affiliation. One thing I did want to bring up is in that rally today, there were some peaceful protesters that were holding up signs, and people were pushing them and tearing up their sign.
Not happy with that.
And Trump didn't say anything,
horrible.
and everyone cheered them on.
Yeah.
And I hate seeing that, because I really believe in, free expression of views, and if they're not causing a disturbance,
I just think you should ignore it.
There's no problem with that, and that was really disappointing to see.
Disappointing.
I know that not all Trump supporters agreed with that, but that was really
the people around me did not. They did not. You just want to ignore it. The best thing to do is ignore it. And as soon as they tore that sign around, I was like, no, you can't take somebody's property away, which is why we don't support socialism.
Was I the only one who was super upset?
Well, thank you. That's good. I know. It's really appreciated.
I'm not a socialist either, believe me.
Yeah.
I don't support socialism either.
Like, she was in the seat yelling, just let them have their sign.
Yeah.
Why can't they hold up their sign?
Yeah.
I was really
The
angry
last thing
about
you want to
that.
do is take somebody's sign from them. I think it's really stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sorry I missed the interview. My name's Michelle.
It's my sister.
Nice to meet
These
you.
guys are very level-headed,
Well, you're wearing
centrist
Yang shirt.
leftists.
Okay. I
Just
like it.
Nice people.
We were just talking about Yang.
Nice people. Nice people. God bless you guys.
Yeah.
And good luck in your futures.
Good night.
Thank you.
Right. All right. You too. Take care, Kevin. This is
Nice
Kevin.
to meet you, Kevin.
I'll tell her all about it.
Okay.
Well, what an interesting, you did it.